Hello, my friends. The United States threatens to cut intelligence and weapons support for Ukraine to pressure the country for signing absolutely stupid peace deal proposal, so-called peace deal. As you might see, we are at the same cycle with Donald Trump's administration again and again. They're just minor changes. If we calculate it's going to be maybe fifth or sixth time, then United States may cut the weapons support for Ukraine. I think that they will do it, and Ukraine will never ever agree on that bullshit that was proposed by some of the generals who visited Kiev. And actually, this peace plan is not Trump's peace plan. It is Putin's peace plan. But as you probably know, even Putin doesn't agree on that peace plan. His goal is much wider. And Trump, White House administration, doesn't understand that at all. Yes, guys, in this video in particular, I again want to speak about political stuff happening around Ukraine, not the front lines. It's going to be in next video. I'm sorry about it, but this is now more important. Trump also mentioned that Ukraine will inevitably lose the remaining part of Donbass, either with the peace deal proposed or because of the military action. But there is one big but. Yes, Ukraine has big chances to lose Donbass, but it might take few years and thousands of the life losses for Russia. Yeah, also Ukraine will lose its best warriors, but giving Russia territory just like that with some of the crazy, hazy proposal and those foggy security guarantees which were mentioned, there's actually no details, precise details about those security guarantees which Donald Trump's administration could propose. Before, Donia said about the mineral deal that it will be the security guarantee for Ukraine, but it seems like everyone forgot about that mineral deal long time ago. By the way, initially Donald Trump tried to press Ukraine with unacceptable military deal, and it wasn't accepted by Ukraine, but later on they changed almost everything in that and Ukraine took it. But it's not the part of the guarantee as we see it. And now we have a new proposal to capitulate from those territories. It means the entire capitulation of Ukraine. If you give up Donbass, Russia will not be satisfied with that. They will occupy those territories and they will continue the further attacks. It's absolutely evident because for Putin, Ukrainian government, as he said yesterday, are criminals. Ukrainian regime is not fulfilling its obligations, and the goals of the special military operation should be achieved in any case. And those goals, they are not saying that, okay, Russia should occupy Donbass and be happy with that. No, Donbass is not in the goals at all. It's about denazification, demilitarization, for Ukraine not to be a NATO member, for implementation of the Russian influence in Ukraine. It means Russian Orthodox Church, which is not the church but the daughter company of the Russian FSB, implementation of the Russian language, and denazification. It means cancellation of the Ukrainian identity, making Ukraine the second Belarus. Absolutely puppet regime dictator state, and the Russians will take more territories for them, leaving probably the part of Ukraine as Ukraine to have one more vote in the United Nations, just like that. But it would not be a sovereign state at all. That's the main goal of Russia, not Donbass. Russia, look at Russia. I think will not have enough space here to show Russia itself. And Russia is concerned about Donbass. They don't care about people who live there. They just demolish city after city, town after town, village after village. They want to take Donbass for the only reason, because it's the most fortified bridgehead for Ukraine, for Ukrainian defense in general. And yes, they might take it, but how many resources Russia may spend for it? Is the Russian economy okay? Is it doing fine? Well, actually, it doesn't feel that great. I'm not saying that Russian economy will collapse in a matter of 2 years or something, but every day of this war to continue, for Russia to struggle on the front lines. Yes, they take territories little by little, but still they struggle with heaviest losses possible, and they use the vast resources of their economy. Their country is under sanctions, and that all brings Russia finally to its end. Russia or the Russian regime. In this case, it doesn't really matter. And only with end of Putin's regime, Ukraine may deoccupy those territories. So Ukraine is fighting there to get time for defense, and forcing Ukraine to give up the most fortified area for something on the paper. It already was like that. Yeah, Budapest memorandum and everything. So basically, it's about nothing burger, as I said in my previous video. And Zelensky already came out with his address to people that he will never ever agree on that. From his speech today, it is evident that the pressure on Zelensky with all of this Nambu scandal and all of that, it doesn't work. It actually backfired for Trump and maybe FBI, which is ruling partially that investigation. I think that investigation should be done. Yes, of course, everything should be uncovered. But Zelensky, with his at least geopolitical strategy, policy, he's basically saying that Ukraine will not agree on capitulation demands and no any power in the world will force Ukraine to capitulate. He sworn to Ukrainian constitution, Ukraine as the country in 2019, and he will fulfill his obligation. And here I support Zelensky. Because if you give aggressor what he wants, like to this angry, crazy animal, it will take more, okay? Give it a bite and it will grab the hand. And just imagine what it could be if Russia takes Donbass. You see what might happen here? It's my theory that Russia may definitely freeze the war for some period of time, maybe even till the end of Donald Trump's presidency, but then restart war once again. And Donny might say, oh, then I was a president, there was no war, I stopped the war, I stopped 9, 10 wars, whatsoever. Donald Trump himself says that his goal is to freeze this war, to stop it, to slow down or something like that. It's not the end of the conflict. And absolutely it is not acceptable. It is a threat not just for Ukraine, but for entire Europe, and likely our European allies they start to understand that. And I think that this weekend and the next week they'll try to convince Donny that no, guy, you're wrong. If Russia restarts its military action, Ukraine has low chances to withstand against Russian aggression. And as for the peace deal, those demands in the document, well, as I said yesterday, it's all like water bullshit out there, but Ukraine shouldn't agree with that just because it is written that Ukraine should give up Donbass. It's not about NATO membership after all, but yeah, NATO membership is the sovereign right of every country to apply to, and it's also a sovereign right of the country, of any of the NATO country, whether to vote to accept the candidate or not. Like, for example, Orban said that he will never accept Ukraine. Okay, it's his right, but Orban will be changed. That's how democracy works. Yeah, Ukraine has this right to be accepted or has the right to be rejected by some of the NATO members. It's normal, but to forbid it as it is in Ukrainian constitution, no, it doesn't work, yeah? But even if we are not speaking about NATO, the main point that Ukraine should give up its lands voluntarily with the people who live there. Like, okay, you go to Kramatorsk and say to, okay, you are now Russians. Yeah, guys, we are giving you to Russia. It's not about the land itself, yeah? Also, there are people living, people who don't want even to leave their houses at the current front line. They're so connected to the land. They were born there, they were raised there, and force them to become Russians, like, it's inhumane, yeah, it's immoral. And no Ukrainian president, it's not just about Zelensky, anyone would never ever agree on that. That's basically betrayal, treason. And the next unacceptable point in this document, which I forgot to mention yesterday, that Ukraine should give up the part of its weapons. No, it's the only guarantee for Ukraine is the Ukrainian army. That's it. Allies, not allies, but Ukraine was left mainly alone at the very beginning of the war in 2022. It relied on its own forces and was capable to repel Russians from multiple of Ukrainian regions. Russians failed. Then Ukraine didn't have any Abrams tanks, Leopard tanks, HIMARS, M777s or something like that. Yeah, only some of the javelins, but we understand that it was not really the main factor. Maybe some of the Russian tanks were destroyed by javelins, but Ukrainian army in general was capable to repel that massive attack. Somewhere, yeah, not everywhere, still Russians occupied South. Well, Zelensky still tries to communicate with the White House. Today there was the conversation between him and J.D. Vance, plus Secretary of the Army Driscoll, who attended Kyiv just yesterday. So Ukraine has always respected and continues to respect Trump's desire to end the bloodshed, and we view every realistic proposal positively. So the current proposal is not realistic, it is understandable. And again, all of that water in document could be accepted unless territorial concessions, and demilitarization of Ukrainian army. That's it. The rest are pretty much accepted in conditions of Ukrainian position. It really is, because there is nothing about like real betrayal or treason. So if you remove those two points, which are main for Russia, it's understandable. Ukraine may even sign it. It's like with this grain deal that was not agreed at first, but later on was corrected. So here Ukrainian government is doing proper job, not agreeing on that bullshit. Yesterday I forgot to say that there are no any concessions from the Russian side in that document. Absolutely nothing. Just Ukraine has been pushed. White House says that Russians started to be more active on the front lines, and also this corruption scandal. So of course they'll push the weaker side here, Ukraine. Ukraine is way weaker than Russia. For Donald Trump, it is no difference between aggressor and victim, and for him, any sort of the outcome is good for this war to end. If it's temporary, if it ends during his term and till the end of his term, it's fantastic scenario for Donald Trump. But how Europe could handle the further aggression or Ukraine, he doesn't really care. So the stable peace is not possible with the current White House administration and basically with Putin. It's not about White House, all right? It's just delusional Trump who supports aggressor in this way. It's about Putin. It's all about Putin. He started this war. He should end it. And no United States president has the actual lever on Putin. Despite sanctions, Russia will continue. The idea here from Russia with this peace deal that was prepared by Russia is to replace responsibility from Putin to Zelensky. It's not Russia that wants this war, it's Ukraine that wants this war to continue. In this attempt, they want to get rid of the sanctions and Ukraine to stay without any military support. And there is the information that the United States will even cancel this Pearl program for Europeans to purchase American weaponry for Ukraine. Of course, it's very bad, and Ukraine in this case will lose way more territories. What is also very important that Ukraine gets Patriot missiles from the United States of America. Those are only missiles, PAC-3, which are capable to shut down Russian ballistics. So by canceling Ukrainian military support and Ukrainian air defense, Donald Trump will cause more life losses even among Ukrainian civilians. Here, Donald Trump could be equal to the war criminal. Well, I think he really is, and on my other channel I started to film videos about Donnie too, because I don't want to shut up, I want to spread this information, even though I don't have lots of the views on my second channel, but yeah, you may increase those by subscribing on my channel. The link is in the video description just below. But even without weapons from the United States of America, Ukraine has no chance then to resist. And White House should understand that. And just imagine Donald Trump being asked the questions why he cancels the support of Ukraine, and Melania may again say to him, you see what Russians are doing? Like, for example, the day before yesterday, Russians hit one of the civilian buildings in Ternopil. There are more than 30 casualties out there. It was a deliberate strike with the Russian cruise missile. There are tons of the videos from the place. So Trump will be pushed also from within to resume the military support as it happened well before. It's not a popular step for Donnie, and he's unpopular now in the United States in general. So I don't think that he really may cancel the support of Ukraine for extensive period of time. He will be pressed by journalists, by politicians, by people basically in the USA. I see that according to the polls, even MAGA community is changing its opinion in favor of Ukraine little by little. What I also want to say that there are issues in Ukrainian army, big problems actually, within the army command, with government, and Ukraine should reform. It is not Donald Trump that causes those issues. It is Ukraine itself, unfortunately. And without those reforms, Ukrainian army will continue to lose ground even more. And by the ground, I mean not just terrain, but also soldiers, civilians, and settlements, villages, everything. So as many of the Ukrainian volunteers, Ukrainian officers, I'm calling for reforms in Ukrainian army. Without those, with the cancellation especially of the American support for Ukraine, of course, it's going to be very hard for Ukraine to withstand in extensive period of time, like for many years, all of those Russian attacks. Enemy is strong, enemy is big, it has more resources, and Ukraine absolutely should change to consolidate resources and to boost morale of people. Because now many people, to be honest, demoralized. Yeah, not because of Trump, but because of internal issues. I said about it on my channel, and I continue to tell about it. Those reforms, I think, will be conducted because there is no other way for Ukraine to survive. With that, guys, please support the job that I do on my channel by following me on Patreon and also membership. The link for my Patreon is in the video description just below. Membership, you may press the button join over here. Thank you so much for making this content possible. And today, I promise you to film one more video. I have kind of the short interview with one of the influencers very soon, and later on I'm gonna film one more video with frontlines. Not only there are multiple of the news coming, the general digest of what is happening around Ukraine. So stand by for it, and yeah, I forgot to say, press the like to this video and subscribe for the channel. It always helps. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.